Blackthorn Cove was more than a town. It was a suffocating presence. The thick fog that clung to its shores was like a shroud, a constant reminder of its isolation. The townsfolk, hardened by generations of whispers and shadows, rarely spoke of the lighthouse. It stood on a precipice overlooking the churning sea, a silent sentinel to a forgotten pact. 30 years had passed since its beacon last pierced the gloom. 30 years since the last child vanished. The lighthouse, they said, was more than just a structure. It was a conduit, a gateway. Its unblinking eye had stared too long into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back. The stories whispered through generations spoke of a presence beneath the waves, something ancient and vast, something hungry. The older residents, their faces etched with a lifetime of salt and fear, still remembered the night the light died, the night the fog descended, thicker and colder than ever before. The night little Samuel Croft vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a single muddy boot on the cliffs. The lighthouse, once a symbol of hope and guidance, now stood as a grim reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their seemingly quaint town. It was a silent testament to the secrets that bound Blackthorn Cove to its sinister fate, the secrets that refused to stay buried. Elias Voss had tried to outrun the memories. He had left Blackthorn Cove behind, seeking solace in the bustling anonymity of the city. But the past had a way of catching up, its grip tightening like the icy tendrils of the North Sea. It came in the form of a phone call, his voice trembling as he received news of his little sister's disappearance. Lila, just 12 years old, had vanished, the same age as Samuel Croft, 30 years prior. In the aftermath, a box of Lila's belongings arrived at Elias's doorstep. Among the trinkets and drawings, he found a small, leather-bound diary, its pages filled with Lila's neat, looping handwriting. The sketches chilled him to the bone. Tentacled shadows loomed from the pages, their eyes burning with an eerie luminescence. Coordinates were scrawled beneath haunting verses, a chilling message repeated like a mantra. The light sleeps, but the deep remembers. Lila had always been different, drawn to the mysteries that others shunned. She saw things, heard whispers on the wind that others couldn't perceive. He dismissed it then, attributing it to an overactive imagination. Now, he feared her innocent curiosity had unearthed something sinister, something that had slumbered for 3 decades. The diary was more than just a collection of childish scribbles. It was a roadmap, a desperate plea for help masked as fantastical tales. And as Elias deciphered the cryptic entries, a horrifying truth began to dawn. Lila had stumbled upon the dark underbelly of Blackthorn Cove, a secret legacy passed down through generations. A pact made with something ancient and monstrous that dwelled beneath the waves. The fog welcomed Elias like a shroud. It clung to him, seeped into his clothes, his hair, his very lungs, as if trying to claim him for its own. The air hung heavy with the scent of salt and something else, something ancient and unsettling. Blackthorn Cove hadn't changed. It was as if time had stood still, trapped in a perpetual cycle of dread and decay. The townsfolk greeted him with a mixture of pity and suspicion. Their eyes, dull and lifeless, held a chilling familiarity, the same look he saw in his own reflection. They spoke in hushed tones, avoiding his gaze. They knew just as he did that Lila's disappearance was no ordinary case. They had seen it all before. Following the coordinates in Lila's diary, Elias found himself drawn to the cliffs overlooking the churning sea. The lighthouse loomed before him, its shadow stretching towards him like a grasping hand. The diary spoke of a hidden chamber, a place where the truth lay buried, a place where the pact was made. Each step towards the lighthouse felt heavier than the last. The air grew colder, the fog thicker, as if the very elements were trying to deter him. But Elias was resolute. He had to find Lila, even if it meant confronting the darkness that haunted his family, his town, his very soul. He had to break the cycle. The hidden chamber was cold, damp, and reeked of decay. Mildewed tapestries clung to the walls, depicting scenes that sent shivers down Elias's spine. Tentacled creatures rose from the depths, their eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence. Humans, their faces contorted in fear, offered sacrifices to appease the abyssal horrors. And then he saw it. The pact. Scrawled in a language he couldn't decipher, yet understood instinctively. It spoke of a bargain struck between the town's founders and a being of immense power, a being that dwelled in the depths, promising prosperity and protection in exchange for a terrible tribute, one child every 30 years. The air grew heavy, the temperature plummeting. The room seemed to pulsate, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurring. He could hear whispers now, slithering around him like tentacles, whispering his name, tempting him with promises of forbidden knowledge and unimaginable power. Elias stumbled back, his mind reeling. The diary entries, the disappearances, the chilling drawings, it all made sense now. Blackthorn Cove was built on a foundation of blood and darkness, and his family, his bloodline, was inextricably intertwined with its sinister fate. He had stumbled upon a truth too terrible to comprehend, a cosmic horror that threatened to consume him whole. And as he stared into the abyss, he realized with chilling certainty, the abyss stared back.